Hey everyone, Stephen here from Vanguard Tactics. I hope you're doing well. So in this video, or this live, should I say, we're going to be answering your questions that you have on Warhammer 40,000, whether it's hobby related, competitive play, whatever it might be. So welcome to the channel. If you've never come across us before, we specialize in competitive 40k. So this video, over the course of this coronavirus lockdown, I'm going live every single day at 6 o'clock British summertime to answer your questions, to have a chat, to start to build our community up of a place where you guys can feel safe to communicate. And we've had some fantastic discussions over the last week while I've been doing this. And also, I must admit, I think I have the best supporters that there are, and you guys are absolutely incredible, and I'm really grateful. That was one thing I do every day, is I write down what I'm grateful for, and it is you guys, because without you I wouldn't be here today doing what I love most, which is talking about 40k. So I really appreciate that. The hobby's given me so much in terms of Warhammer, so yeah, hopefully it will give you as much as it's given me, and hopefully I can help towards that as well. So am I loud and clear? Let's just do a quick little audio check. You guys in the chat, we've got Brian, Sam, Pryo, Marley, Michael, how you guys doing? So I'm going to give you a bit of a update on my hobby stuff, and I've actually written down today my this is my little journal that I use for planning content, and I've written down today my top tips for speed painting. So I did a little live yesterday, and I did that in the community group of our mentorship program, and I just showed everyone the sort of behind the scenes as I was working on my Sisters of Battle army. It's coming along really well. So I made some significant progress yesterday in just 5 hours. So I'm going to cover what I did and how we're going to do that as well. So let's we'll quickly dive into the chat to see what everyone's doing. Rizal has said, hey, guys, I'm so sorry if I butcher names, by the way. I have a very mild case of dyslexia, so I'm not very good when it comes to reading people's names, unfortunately, or just reading grammar, spelling, anything like that. And you guys, I'm more than happy to have a laugh at myself as well. So if I do butcher a name, please just have a laugh with me about it. It's nothing personal or anything like that, okay? So Rizal has asked, hey, has Jack talked about the door? Make a note. I'll tell you, I'll do that right now, because otherwise, if not, then I'm going to forget. So podcast, put it any other business, because we're going to be discussing orcs in a lot more detail. I'm bringing on a couple of orc players. We're going to have a good old orc-based podcast, so that should be good. Dark Angels FAQ. What's the story? Right, that's down, guys. So, and if you guys have got a question, in fact, I'll make that the listener question for the week. I think that's really nice, as I'll obviously point that to Jack as well. So anyway, who we got here? Jacob, Robin, Drew, Sam, Henrik, how you guys doing? Chris, Jared. Yep, guys, top work. Great to see you all back. Right. Alistair, you finally made it. Good. Hope you guys are doing all well. So if you've got a question, pop it in the chat, as you do as always. And I will try and go through anyone that has left a comment on the YouTube channel so far from the previous days. And essentially, I'll try and catch up on those as well. So if you are listening back to this and you do write a comment, I will try and get back to you. I've just been so busy this last couple of weeks getting the studio done. I had to block a huge time away to do that. And obviously, I'm not really getting the full access. Well, I'm not getting any access to the studio at the moment because of the lockdown. So it felt like a lot of and I can't wait to get back in there. But basically, I'm a little bit slowed down now. So I'm still playing catch up a little bit. Taking a break from online classes with the Dark Angel FAQ. Honestly, no different in my opinion. The Deathwing Knights are the way to go. Drew has said, all good but healthy, staying safe. Wish everyone well. Yeah, literally can't stress that enough. I had to go shopping today to get some essentials, and I had to queue for like half an hour, and it's queuing 2 to 3 meters apart from everybody else. And it's a very different atmosphere out there at the moment. Very quite eerie. So I'm still making a conscious effort to smile at everyone that I walk past, because unfortunately, like, everyone's keeping their heads down and they don't really want to talk in things. So, I'm just, trying to make a conscious effort to smile at everyone, be polite, be nice. And I think we need a little bit of positivity out there, because it is quite doom and gloom. So we really need to, I think, be a lot more positive together. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that something good comes out of this coronavirus situation, and it will be, number one, Vanguard Tactics will have a really good community. Me going live every day, talking to you guys. Hopefully you guys will become familiar with each other as well, and you can have some great discussions, and we can then carry that over to the mentorship. We can carry that over to Discord. So there's definitely ways to keep that conversation going, keep that like-minded community, getting a tighter, closer bond. So in our community, we don't have any sort of negativity or disagreements. We have a couple of debates, obviously, of course, and that's what it's all about, but not like nastiness that you can sometimes see in other Facebook groups. And obviously, me, I don't stand for any of that sort of behavior anyway, so I was sort of always kind of nip that in the bud if I was to see anything. So anyway, Lee Russ, how you doing, mate? Good to hear from you. Fantastic you've joined the stream, mate, and hope you're doing well. Lee is somebody that we used to play back in the day when I was much younger, when I first ever played 40k. And Lee is an exceptional painter. Used to have the most incredible grey Space Marine army, and it was really beautifully done. So Lee, welcome to the stream, mate. Drew has said, shopping in bigger shops must be a nightmare. So here we go. Ian's asked a question before we crack on with this sort of my speed painting tips. Ian said, how do you stay focused on one army? I'm building and painting my Grey Knights, but looking at and planning other armies. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of, window shopping, guys, There's nothing wrong with that. It's not cheating. It's really not. Just having a little dabble at a different army. It's not like being in a relationship. Different. Oh, so it's fallen down. Guys, you can explore different things. That's a great thing about a hobby, But in terms of obviously getting good with an army, so where I'm at the moment, I'm currently working on the Grey Knights, Sisters, and the Blood Angels. Now, my Blood Angels is, my competitive army. That's the one I'm still playtesting with. I've been flirting with some Space Wolves at the moment, obviously, but that's more of a kind of just to get my brain working. In actually looking at different lists, in every Monday, we actually have something now in the community called list of the week, and I think what I really like about that is it's going to help people really explore different armies out there, because me theorizing about Space Wolves, what's competitive in terms of Space Wolves, and just on that note as well, I will be posting. I haven't had time to do the Orc and the Space Wolf list yet, so I'm hoping to get that done for tomorrow, so you guys will have links, and then when I go live, I'll announce where you can get that from. But looking every Monday, we're going to start to look at a list in particular, and by theorizing about it, you can start to think, okay, well, when you start to put yourself in your opponent's shoes, okay, so if you're wielding that Space Wolf list, you're going to start to think about it as their opponent. Okay, well, I would do that, because you've already thought about it. You've already thought about how you would deploy that army. You've already thought about what you would do turn one, where their strengths lie, where they want to be. So when you play it, you can start to pinpoint, and steer the game in a different direction to where they want it to go. And that's really, really strong from a tactical standpoint. So there's nothing wrong with flirting with some different armies out there. Keeps not only your interest up, but also it is actually a good way to, adverse yourself and, give your knowledge good variety as well. But what I'm tending to do at the moment, I'm playing hardcore under Blood Angels, but I'm having mess about games, or I was anyway, with the sisters. But I'm bringing the sisters up to a tabletop standard. So think of it like a 6 month turnaround. I'm going to play Blood Angels for 6 months, whilst in that time I'm going to be building up the sisters army. Yeah, so I'm building them up, painting them, getting them looking pretty sweet, messing about with it. I'm playing sisters. I can be working on a hobby project like the Grey Knights maybe, or another army that I want to work on. So while I'm playing with one, I'm building another. So I've always got, this constant evolution going. And if I just had the two armies, I'd probably go back in. What I tend to do with my speed painting is I get the army down on the table. So it's, I don't do 3 color minimum. I'm probably looking a bit more like a 5 for me. That's what I like doing. So a 5 color minimum. I do a lot of airbrushing, as I'll go into. So get that done. And then I'm then doing the same with the sisters while I'm playing with the Blood Angels. Once I've flipped over the play styles, I can go back to the Blood Angels and start to bring them up to that top level standard. That's what I would do anyway. So so we'll dive into I'll come back to some of your questions in the chat in a moment, but we'll dive into some of my techniques that I've been doing with the sisters anyway. So the sisters is currently, if you can see on the back shelf there, all lined out, and it is a huge army, the one that I've built. And it really revolves around combat. It's got some shooting elements, but it's basically a huge horde army. All right, so many models. And I'm still yet to build 9 mortar. So I've still got 6 mortar fires to build, and I think something like 18 Repentia left to go. So that's what I've still, and I think one other model as well that I forgot to build earlier. So one of the things that supports Celestine. So that's what I've got left to build. But I'll talk you through my process of speed painting, okay? Now I've set it out there before, like the Ultramarines in the cabinet, which is on the left-hand side underneath the sign. That's my Ultramarines army. You may have seen that on the channel before in a stream game. I haven't actually done a battle report with them yet, but so I'm quite quick, and they look really good. Like they're a decent standard. I probably did the Blood Angels in a similar time frame, but it was sort of broken up because I couldn't just do it in one big block like I did with them. I literally knuckled down 12 hours straight, did them, then another one. Okay, so when it comes to speed painting, what I tend to do first, and this is the fastest method, and I've got a video on how to speed build that I need to edit, which there's loads of time lapses, me and Joe talking about our top tips, but I'm going to go through very quickly what I do. So first of all, I create the list. All right, so even before I buy any models, I proxy the list out. So I make sure before I even purchase a model, I've already played with it. I know what I like, I know what works, and I've got a bit of an idea of the direction I'm going to go in. I then buy the models, batch buy it ideally, or maybe in over a few months if I need to save up for it, which sometimes I do. Then I will write the list. Okay, while I'm in the list writing stage, I'll still be playtesting as I'm collecting the models. Then what I'll be doing is building everything. So I'm literally going to sit down, build everything until I get bored, and as soon as I get bored, I move on to the next build. When you're building a lot of models, it is very easy to get bored at it. So it is important to, in my opinion, sort of move on. So batch do it. So I made like 2 mortar fires at a time. Then I did some Repentia, then some Battle Sisters. But it's one stint where you've got you've got your desk set up, because I don't have a desk I can keep all my stuff on. I like a clean, because I work now. When I get the studio, it'll be different, but I like to edit, do my emails, do these videos in a clean office. I hate having a messy office, you see. So when I get it all out, I want to do as much as I possibly can. Then what I'm going to be doing is building all the models up, get them done. And then before I do anything, I'm going to paint one model, and that is my test model. Okay, so I paint the model how I think it's going to be done. I normally do a couple of versions. So I did a white version and I did a red version. I preferred the red, so, and I'm only doing it roughly, so it only has to be like the overall look. I'm not trying to get them to like, I mean, not that I could ever paint to a golden demon standard, but do you know what I mean? I'm just getting some colors down and seeing what, you know, does it look good on the model? Do I like it? Once I've decided, I then stick with that. I write down the process and I write down the colors I'm going to use, and that's really important. So then I've got this sort of template to go through. Then what I'm going to do is I know if I need a dark or a light undercoat in terms of a primer. So I use a gray or a black, and depending on what I'm going to be doing, that's what I'll go with. You know, and I'll just, so yesterday morning, primed everything. All my models primed it. So I did some black, some gray, and I use a big old sort of, I've got a makeshift board here, and I, you know, got blue tack stuck on it already. So big, thick bit of cardboard, 2 holes in it where my thumbs go, blue tack down, and then it means I can hold it with my thumb inside it, and I got much better control when I'm spraying then, you see, so it's quite useful. So that's what, then I'll stick the models down. So I'm doing everything I can, and they're obviously evenly spaced apart. Make sure it's not too windy, give the cans a good shake, put gloves on, old clothes, get out and do that. Then while that's drying, I'm setting up my table for my airbrushes, getting the paints out I need that I've already written down that I need, you know, making sure I've got clean water, cleaning out my airbrush and all that kind of stuff. Then once I've done that, I'm going to basically pick up about 10 to 15 guys. I'm going to stick them back on that board, and I'm going to airbrush the lot. Okay, so let's say I did all the Battle Sisters. So after I kind of have primed them, and before I even get to this stage, I kind of, in my mind, I'm segregating the armies up, or the army up. So I've got, right, I've got so I'll give you an example. All my mortar fires are in one segment. Yeah, so mortar fires and HQs, that's in one segment. Then what I've got is all the Battle Sisters, Repentia, and Arcoflagellants. So that's in another segment. And then in my final segment is all the Zeraphim, okay, and Seraphim. So Zephyrin, Seraphim, they're in another segment. So I've got 3 clear segments of my army. And then what I'm doing is I'm basically using the airbrush and doing 15 models at a time. Okay, so they go back on that board, airbrushed a lot, so get the base color down, do like a quick highlight, zenithal highlight. So with I'm going for like a cherry red color. I put a, so this is all the Battle Sisters. So put in a sort of gun metallic gray or silver down from Vallejo, really good paint for this one I found. So chuck that down first, then I'll go over with like a, from one direction. So I'll go like silver, like a bright silver from the top, okay? And that way, I then use contrast paints. And once I've put so then on the model itself, it's got some like dark, real like black bits where the silver didn't quite hit. I've then got the gray or the metallic gray, and then I've got the silver, the real bright silver. So then what I do with the contrast paint, I think these are fantastic. I actually put these in the airbrush with a bit of thinner, and I'll start with the lightest color. And when you are using contrast, I really, you know, always go with that lightest color first. And basically I do a thin coat all over the model, and it looks not great. Then what I do with a darker red, so I've got like the Blood Angels and the Flesh Terror contrast paints. With the darker one, I then start to put that, and then I sort of turn the model upside down and do all the bottom bits as well, because obviously that would be much darker red. So that then gives us a nice, very quick way of the model looking really sweet, and I don't need to edge highlight. Okay, so it kind of skips the edge highlighting phase by having this sort of zenithal highlighted airbrush model, and it's so quick, so simple. So then what I've done, and I'll then clean all the airbrush out because I've been using metallics and reds. I'll clear that out, and then I went for the skin tone, so I went for the brown. Then I'll just, in the pot, add a bit of skin tone, put a this is on the Arcoflagellants Repentia, so a brown, then a sort of dark brown in skin tone, then a skin tone, getting lighter and lighter, doing less and less with the airbrush. And then what I do is, again, contrast flesh tone all over it, do 2 coats of that. I've now got a deep dark flesh tone, and that's pretty much me done. And I've, you know, at this point, I've done like 30 models in the space of 2 hours, okay? And then what I do is using a hairdryer. That really, really helps in between each coat. I have like on my tray, I peel them off, stick them in a bucket, or, you know, an upturned lid that you get. airbrush, dry the lot, get the hairdryer on it, speed it up, put them back on there. And it really, really helps. So you can go, when you go from one coat to the next coat of paint, you want to make sure it's fully dry before you go on to that next one. So that's what I'm really focused on doing, making sure they're nice and dry. Then whilst that's doing, I basically wash out my palette, wash out my paints, wash out my airbrush, and then then go on to the next sort of color as well. And then once I'm bored of airbrushing, I'll then start to block in. So before I wrap up that evening, I'll start to block in all the other colors, and then you feel like you've had a really productive day. So yesterday I painted 15 Battle Sisters, 10 Repentia, and then the Arco Flagellants to a pretty decent standard where I feel like, that's a third of the army now done. And then I just got to base it. So anyway, that's my speed painting tips. If you thought they were good, give them a try, give the video a like, so I know that you guys enjoyed this sort of stuff. If you don't, I'll never talk about hobby again, and I'll just stick to competitive play. But if you're enjoying this side of things, it's kind of like competitive painting, I would say, not in terms of competitive play painting. So how can we get to the models on the arm, the models on the tabletop as quickly as we can, so we can play and play test. So if you like that, give us a give us a like, so I know that you guys are enjoying this. So anyway, let's have a little quick dive into the chat. Thousand Suns seem to be very interesting. Have you ever dabbled into them? No, never looked at the Thousand Suns into too much detail, but I've got a few of the models that I need to have a bit of a paint up. I did look at the Psychic Awakening though, and there's some nice little builds in there, but I haven't really given it too much thought. I just between in the same way as previous lists like Plague Bearers. If not, is max offense the only way? No, deny lists are fantastic. Recently, when I went over the module on Adeptus Sororitas, that's on the mentorship program, I spoke about a list design where sisters can just deny the entire board out and you're never going to touch it, never going to get it off them. I mean, when I say never, take it with a pinch of salt, but pretty much it's going to be tough. So I go over 3 list builds on the mentorship program on how to run Adeptus Sororitas, and I'm going to be doing that for every, okay? How would you make Reavers work? I mean, if you wanted an army focused solely around Reavers, you need to go White Scars, so they can advance and charge. You can take full advantage of the Phobos keyword, where you can then use the power on them, the obscuration, some sort of word like that, obscuring some stuff, basically psychic power, and you can then double move them so they can shoot across the table, ignoring terrain, getting in the mix. And I think that's a pretty good option. So they can sit back, deny the board for 2 turns, head into the Assault Doctrine, and forward. But do not rush it. You have to wait to turn 3 to make that go off. Chris Wilson's Thousand Suns, great faction is soup in. Started to soup in my Chaos Army as a spicy. I've actually got a Chaos Knight here, and I've got another model I'm going to convert with it. So I'm going to help you, if I can capture it, how to convert up some really cool Chaos Knights. So that's a video I've been planning on to make. Just haven't got time to do that yet. I mean, to be honest, guys, I know there are like third-party miniatures out there and stuff, but for me, it's a GW model. By buying their models as well is certainly the way that I would like to go with things anyway. So, but I'm sure there are other ones out there. But I haven't really looked into many others, to be honest. I wanted to know the rumors on 9th coming was like. I haven't heard of any rumors about 9th edition, so I don't really have anything. Might not even be a thing. Could just be an update to 8th edition, just a bit of a cleanup of the rule set maybe. That's what I'd probably expect to see. Like some of the wording that's been FAQ'd ever since, maybe just a tighter rule book now, which eliminates some of that sort of verbiages that have maybe gone awry or wasn't intended. Sarah said, this lockdown has actually made me addicted to playing with myself. TMI, but it's true. I can only imagine men are having it worse at the moment. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It could be taken a different way. Yeah. So Sarah said, disgustingly filthy minds. I was one of the course talking about playing video games. Yep. Yeah. Right. So the other thing you can do as well is this is one of the videos that I'm going to be putting out on the on here soon. It is a video from the mentorship program. I just haven't had time to edit it just yet. Ready for YouTube, but it's a way that you can get models out on the table and start to practice your moves. Okay. Yeah, basically, and ensure that everything's going, you're practicing your tactics, you're moving your models in the right way, and really taking your game to that next level, although you're sat at home with yourself. Okay, it can be done. Keeping the chat entertaining, absolutely. How would you play infantry crons? Do you know, it's been a while since I looked at the Necrons, to be honest, but they got some, they're pretty close to being good. I think they've been given a bit of a hard time, but there's some players out there doing some really good stuff with them. So I think with Psychic Awakening, when that comes out for them, I think they're going to get some good stuff, and they don't need too much to make them competitive. But if you're running like infantry crons, just take Immortals for days. I mean, they're a fantastic troop choice, great damage output. Just lots and lots and lots of them. Maybe a huge big squad of warriors that you can redeploy using the old Veil of Darkness. Is it called Veil of Darkness? I can't remember the name, but where you can pick it up, move a unit over with your HQ. It's a very good relic or warlord trait. I can't remember which one it is, but yeah, they've got some all right stuff. They can certainly catch people off guard as well. And also the Catans, they can be pretty tasty as well. So yeah, where you can redeploy up to 3 units, chuck them in the front of your face, and yeah, it's all right. Got my 2K chaos list done, started painting it in August. Yeah. Yeah, just keep pushing along. Just don't be my advice is get it done and don't make it perfect. But you want to leave your models in a state where you can go back to them and you can improve them. All right. So for example, I've just put down some deep purples on the cloth of the Repentia, and I know that it's actually going to be a dark red, but the purple, first of all, means that on the table they look fine, but they're just not as crisp as I want them. Okay, but I've left myself room. I'm gonna leave that now and just move on. Like, I haven't put a wash on any of the metallics. I haven't highlighted any of the metallics. I just chucked on a metallic, and it's done until I move on. Does that make sense? Like, same with the Xandri dust. What are they called? Scrolls. Just a bit of Xandri dust on top of the brown. I want to go back and edge highlight that, probably write some scribble stuff on it, but I'm leaving it, moving on. I could pick out the skin a bit more, could dot in the eyes and, do a bit more work on the face. I'm moving on. Okay. And that's how you can personally get these, get your armies to the table much faster. All right. So what else we got here? What sort of price did you recommend for an airbrush setup if you just want to get started with airbrushing? So, I mean, my first set was off eBay. I still use the compressor now. It's like a $60 airbrush in compressor. Nothing fancy, but you just get going with it and just get practicing. You're going to absolutely destroy that airbrush. So get one, use it for 3 months, destroy it, and then learn how to clean it effectively, clean it properly before you invest in a decent airbrush. I then invested into another airbrush, which was quite good, and then I then bought a top of the range one after about a year of knowing how to use it. But I had some really good lessons as well from my mate Andy Wardle, who's like top level painter. Check him out, Andy Wardle from Cult of Paint. So I had some lessons with him. So if you're interested, there's loads of good stuff out there. Get yourself on a course, get yourself on the lesson. Watch Andy's YouTube channel. C Studios do a good Patreon as well. There's loads of good bits and bobs out there for airbrushing and stuff. All right. So what else have we got here? Michael said, I'm thinking about using Invictus Warsuits as another pressure unit. I play between Raven Guard and Ultramarines. Do you think that will work well, or is it a case of Centurions? I think with the Invictus, I think they actually work best personally as either Black Templars or White Scars, because with the White Scars you can advance in charge. Ultramarines would have been good because you could redeploy 3 units, but now with the Mechanicus Cs being taken out of the window, you could forward deploy them, spend your 2 CPs, redeploy those 3, and put them back in your lines again with the Ultramarines. But because if it was a case of you could redeploy to a different area, that would have been really, really good. But because you have to follow the rules for deployment, which means you cannot actually redeploy Invictus, as far as I'm aware anyway, redeploy your Ultramarine Invictus good enough distance to clear off that 9 inches, then advance to get a bit further, and then you're pretty much going to get that charge. Black Templars can, because they get a lot better charge ability, because they can re-roll any of the dice, so they're quite strong. And Black Templars are just so cool. I mean, I've actually got a really cool converted Emperor's Champion. I'll go get him. And I actually have the old school Black Templar Emperor's Champion model, where he's like got his sword like this, and he's like about this big. So this is my converted Emperor's Champion. He's got a nice big cloak on him, really cool sword. He's got the helmet on there. And then what I can also use him as well is a Grey Knight, boy as well if I wanted to. So I need to think of a good paint scheme for him. But yeah, really happy with how he came out. Just looks a bit beefier, as I really do appreciate the Primaris size models. I think they're fantastic. I think they've done a great job. I need to plug in my laptop soon. Hey dude, how are people using the White Scarred Reavers? So the thing is, because you can psychic power double move them, you start them on the board, then move them after. So basically you get to move twice and advance twice, which is really, really strong. So that's certainly the best way, in my opinion, to use Reavers. They're 2 wounds each as well. And, the Vanguard Vets are good for taking out heavier targets with the Thunder Hammers, and they got the Storm Shields to take the Overwatch. The Reavers are probably better at going in some of the lighter stuff. So, horses for courses. Scary, how you doing? Good to see you again, mate. Good to see you in the chat. And Black, if you want some advice on Black Templars, Scary's got some great information there. So go and check out the Scarred cast as well for some good insights. Scary, we need to do some collaborating again. We need to sort that out. Yeah, be good to have you back on. Unfortunately, last time, me and Scary recorded a really good interview on Drakari, but the audio was so bad I couldn't fix it. So now I've got a much better audio recording setup. Hopefully that won't happen again. So we still need to get that one out. Yeah. Death Guard, some good new stuff on its way. That should hopefully give them some new little tricks and abilities. Chris Wilson, Glass Moon, 40k exactly. They stick around but don't die. Yeah, that's it. Death Guard, they're just extremely durable. Do you think the new AdMech stuff has potential for competitive play or just memes for friendly game? AdMech are good. Like, AdMech don't even need that much to be fully competitive. They got some really good stuff already. So, absolutely, they got some great stuff. Would I ever soup in Blood Angels? No. For me, you just stick with the Blood Angels. You don't add anything in. Why take, the most perfect cheesecake and just start adding in extras? You don't need to. It's just beautiful as it is. You don't need to mess about with that. Yeah? It's a little bit like when I went for coffee in America. There's a little story that me and Brian went to. So Brian was like, I'll take you to an independent coffee place because I'm a bit of a coffee snob, guys. All right. Went to a coffee place and I just said, look, all I would like is a flat white, please. And they said, what? What's a flat white? I said, okay, let me explain. It's really simple. It's just a double espresso. So just double espresso. And so that's about 50 mils. Okay. So about 50 mils of espresso and then 100 mils of milk, just steamed, but not too hot. So it's not like, you don't have to sip it. You can literally drink it. All right. And that just means it's not burnt. The coffee doesn't burn, the milk doesn't burn, the milk doesn't, the sugar doesn't burn off in them, anyway. And I drink it and it comes in like a jug, right? And this is like the perfect analogy of why you shouldn't soup in with Blood Angels. The flat white is perfect by itself. It just needs a sweet. And they're like, that's the hazelnut syrup. I was like, apparently comes as standard. So no, you don't need it. You just need it simple. If it's good, don't mess with it, okay? Blood Angels, they're good on their own. They're like the perfect flat white. Anyway, little sidetrack for you. God, I do chat some rubbish sometimes, so I do apologise. What are the best custom chapter choices? Are they worth it? I've been wondering, is there one turns up the Primaris Death card with 5 up fill and playing for free? Yeah, could be good. Right, anyway, guys, and yes, I do think AdMech are competitive. Hey, VT, thoughts on running 2 units of Death Company in your list? No, only one. 1 unit's good enough. 1 unit is good enough. The Sanguinary Guard are where you want to invest your points. They give you the durability. The Death Company give you the alpha. So yeah, you don't want 2 alphas because you can only really do one thing with 1 unit. Because you're going to kill stuff way too quickly otherwise, and you don't. Sometimes that's not a good thing. Okay, guys. I'm going to leave that there. This was meant to be 20 minutes long, and I've been here for 40. So, guys, thanks for everyone who joined into the chat. And we'll see you all. Well, see you guys tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be recording a podcast soon all about loads of orc stuff. But yeah, all good, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Use hand sanitizer. Do what you need to do. And I will chat to you guys tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And I'll talk about my Space Wolf and Orc list as well. So see you guys later. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. Like, do that stuff that YouTubers talk about. Do it. It's all good. It's all good stuff. See you later.